All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My name is Eric Bejarano. I'm the director of the Small Business Development Center at Eastern Arizona College. Thank you all for joining. This is certainly exciting. I'd like to welcome you all to our new series of How to Do Business With. I'd also like to thank our partners that have helped bring this to all of you today. Vance Bryce, the Executive Director for the Graham County Chamber of Commerce, and Sean Winham, the Community Development Manager for Freeport McMoRan. Vance and Sean are actually in the room just adjacent to me. With that said, I would ask you all to please ensure you are on mute. When you joined, you should have been muted. We will field and open up the call for questions towards the end of the Zoom meeting here. And without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Sean Winham and Freeport McMoRan. Thank you.
Well, hopefully everyone can hear me all right. As Eric said, we've got a little bit of a changing room situation going on, but appreciate the time. And if you can hear me okay, or if you can't, then start waving your arms or otherwise putting on a display so we know there's a problem. As Eric said, my name is Sean Winham. I work with Freeport McMoRan's community development team. I'm based here at the Safford operations in Graham County. And sorry, seeing extra messages coming on my end. But we want to welcome you to the first of this series, How to Do Business With. We're happy to make this initial offering. Our supply chain team will be joining us to present in just a few moments. And just briefly before then, I'm happy to provide a quick overview of kind of who Freeport is, and we'll go from there. So I can make my slides actually advance. There you go. So I think a lot of people know this, but just for context, we're a world's largest publicly traded copper mining company based in Phoenix, Arizona. We have resources and operating assets around the world, workforce of nearly 70,000 employees and contractors, a strong commitment to safety, environmental management, and community development, community partnership, as well as obligations and commitments at the international level when it comes to sustainable development initiatives. Excuse me. Quick look at our global footprint. Might be a little smaller for those of you sitting on a laptop like me, but you can see most of our operations are centered or focused in the southwestern United States with copper mines in Arizona and New Mexico. Some of those mines producing molybdenum as a byproduct, and then 2 molybdenum primary mines in Colorado, a couple of mines in South America, one in Peru and one in Chile, and then one of our flagship copper and gold mines in Grasberg, Indonesia. This doesn't kind of feature our processing operations, but you can see where we're making copper, which is our primary business. And here's the reason why. I mean, copper is the metal of the future. We see it and feel very strongly that this is where we're headed in terms of, however you want to articulate it, but all the green things to come, electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, we're enjoying heaters and air conditioning in Arizona at different times of the year to keep our climate controlled inside buildings, and all of these things rely on copper. And so the electrical future that we anticipate and that we're all moving toward certainly requires more of it safely and economically. Just briefly, the recent economic impact fact sheets were released for both Safford operations as well as for Morenci. You can see here in 2021, Safford had a total economic impact in Graham County of just under $170 million. Just about $2.5 million of that with vendor purchases. So these numbers are a little intriguing in terms of how they, outline the geography, but at least gives you a flavor for what it looks like statewide in Arizona. Just a little over 26 million in vendor purchases. Pretty significant, both direct and indirect impacts across the board. And that was based on employment of just about 1,300 employees at Safford. Similarly, in Morenci, greater than $1 billion economic impact, nearly $4 million in vendor purchases in Greenlee County. You could see over $250 million economic impact on the county. And as I said, over $1 billion economic impact on the state of Arizona. So, across the two mining properties in the two counties, We've got upwards of 5,000 employees plus, and I'll obviously between that as well as purchasing, contracting, vendor supplier relationships, tax payments, indirect payments, or indirect benefits. There's a substantial economic impact in southeastern Arizona. So with that, as I said, I'd keep it brief. Got Mike Curtis, who's a senior supervisor in our supply chain group at Safford Operations, as well as Kim Olson, who's a supply chain superintendent. And I'll turn it over to Mike and ask him to take it away in terms of getting into the meat and potatoes of the supplier and procurement discussion.
Yeah, Sean, I think Kim was gonna cover the slides here.
Okay. Perfect. Then I'll hand it to you, Kim. Thank you, Mike.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kim Olson. I'm the supply chain superintendent here at the Safford mine. And everything that Sean spoke of before, obviously, our suppliers have a significant impact on all of that. They have a significant impact on our operations and our costs. And our supplier relationships are key to our success. The supply chain manages high-profile commodities and services on a global, a regional, and a local level. And at all those levels, we commit to conduct our business in fair and reasonable manner with high integrity. We obviously will be utilizing the best available data for decision-making and enabling accountability, driving innovation and creativity, fostering open and honest communications. Next slide, Sean. So in regards to local procurement, suppliers, we recognize that the critical role that our local vendors and contractors play in our operations and success, and we continually focus on expanding those opportunities for our local suppliers. We're committed to supporting our communities and recognizing the role that these suppliers play in our communities, and we're committing to making sure that we provide every opportunity for them to achieve success. I'm not going to go and hit every bullet point, but some of the ways that we support the local procurement, we participate in supplier fairs, roundtables, Chamber of Commerce meetings, open house events, and then events such as this that help to bring awareness and provide information to the community about our operation here. We're a founding partner and sponsor of the Dream Builder program, which is an online business training program that is designed to help female entrepreneurs build and grow their own business. We also keep local supplier lists and make those available to our larger contractors that are working on site that may need additional resources or support during large projects. And then we utilize the Ariba program, which can help when you sign up for the discovery tool, which can help connect suppliers and buyers with the entire Ariba network and can help them expand their businesses outside of just the local community. And here I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike Curtis, who's going to go into some of the tools that are available for our suppliers on our FCX website.
Yeah, thanks, Kim. Sean, I'm going to request control. Is that fine?
Yeah, that should be fine. I'll stop sharing as soon as you do.
All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
So under so tools for suppliers is located on our fcx.com website. Anyone has access to this link.
So Mike, I think they were still looking at my screen. You might need to reshare. Okay.
All right, how about now? There we go.
This looks promising. You got it. All right, fire away. Although we see your planner right now, so you may have selected the wrong screen. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. We're working. Got too many screens open right now. So like I said, anyone has access to fcx.com. That link for tools for suppliers is located down here at the bottom. Once you get in here, we're not going to cover everything in here. Everyone can go in there and read through and look at as you see fit. We'll start with the overview. Kim covered this overview in slide number 7 already, about how suppliers have significant impacts with Freeport McMoRan's operations and costs, of course. And then if we drop down supplier information, Freeport, we really do, as far as suppliers are concerned, we really seek to establish long-term relationships with our suppliers. Especially those who show their commitment to our business partner code of conduct. That's based off of our company's principles of business conduct. And those policies and those have links in our policies section down below. So if anyone wants to go through and read that, they can feel free to get those links and read through those codes of conduct. And so, of course, everything is based off our needs, right? There has to be a need for us to select suppliers or look for new suppliers, which we are always constantly looking for new suppliers. And so if someone selected to supply goods or services for Freeport McMoRan, they'll be invited to register in the Ariba network. There's no cost to this registration. Once we get the proper information, a link will be sent out to the supplier, and then that's where they'll provide, tax information, payment information, relative business information, so we can get that supplier set up in our system. And then once they're set up, then we can start conducting business with that supplier. So at the top here, there's a commodity listing. If you open up that link, here's a list of general commodities that some of our top commodities that we use. So that's a pretty comprehensive list. If anyone can supply these type of materials or interested in supplying these type of materials, they can review this list. And if someone is interested or can supply Freeport, they can drop down this contact GSC. Here we have a list of all of the contacts, starting with a lot of our directors in the company, down to our category managers and what categories that they manage currently. And then it goes all the way down to our North American GSC site leaders. So this is probably a supplier's best bet to reach out to contact someone in this list. As you can see, for Safford operations, it's Steven Cedios. If someone was interested in doing business, they could reach out to him, and then he would take that information down to me or some of our team members here. One thing that we have listed on here is our terms and conditions. So we have our terms and conditions for goods and our terms and conditions for services. So these are the our general terms and conditions that these are contracts. This is what we agree to. These are the terms that we agree to, or the supplier agrees to be able to do business with Freeport McMoRan. Anyone can get on this link and look through the terms and conditions and see if that fits their business model and see if they, are able to agree to those terms and conditions to conduct business. Along with that, down at the bottom here, we have our health and safety policies. Some of these are site specific or specific health and safety policies. And then we also have the contractor health safety environmental manual. And these policies are pretty much here to help Freeport manage risks, to prevent fatalities, manage health and safety and environmental incidents. And so these are the policies that if a contractor is wanting to conduct business with Freeport, these are the policies that they're going to be asked to follow. These are the policies that they're are in our terms and conditions that they will be asked to follow to conduct business. So other than that, that's pretty much what we have under the tools for suppliers. Like I said, anyone can get in here and look through the information and reach out to the GSE contacts if they have any questions. I'll turn it back over to you, Sean.
All right, thanks, Mike. Yeah, and if you'll, whenever you stop sharing, I'll just put up our last slide. Thank you again. Appreciate your time and insight. And so do want to put it back to the group. You know, we're conducting this presentation because ultimately our hope and our target as a company is to conduct our business in a way where we're maximizing the positive benefits while we're in business and making opportunities for local communities and local community partners. We also seek to minimize and manage and mitigate any of the negative things that happen along the way. And that's another critical part of our work. But we very much see this partnership and this offering as one of the ways that we're trying to maximize the positive benefits. And to that end, we'd like to open it up for any Q&A discussion that needs to happen with Mike, with Kim. We've got a handful of supply chain professionals from Freeport that are on the line on Zoom. So if you have questions and you're in the Zoomerverse right now, I mean, I just made that up, please either drop them in the chat, raise a hand, otherwise, you know, in some way get our attention so that we know that we can call on you. We'd love to field any questions, and for the time being, maybe I'll open it up to anyone in the room if there are any questions you'd like to ask of the team.
I think I missed where you go to register for the Ariba network.
Okay, so I think we hope to have this as a recording and we can share the link back out. I don't know, Mike, if you want to drop that link into the meeting chat if possible to that GSC homepage that you were on, and we can also share.
Oh, is it right there on that vendors page?
Yeah, it's on the fcx.com page.
Oh, okay.
Is that correct, Mike? Everything, including the Ariba.
Yeah.
There.
Yes, that's correct. It's just on our fcx.com main website, and it's if you go down all the way to the bottom, you'll see where it says tools for suppliers on there.
Okay. Good question. Any more in the room?
For the MSHA safety, yes, you go and there's teachers and stuff that would get us MSHA certified, because we just for specific sites in the mine, right? You need to be.
Yeah, so you know, I think generally, and it's not my wheelhouse, but you know, for conducting business or doing regular business on site, we'd start with a 24-hour MSHA training that we require, and then there's an annual refresher to that, and then we do some site specific or area specific safety training on top of that. But that's something that certainly GSC would guide you through that and get you pointing in the right direction for those resources. Mike, is there
Yeah, there's a lot of options to get MSHA certified. That's something that the contractor will be responsible for to get completed on their own. But we can definitely assist someone with where to go and what to do and what the requirements are for that.
Yeah.
Also, mine's on more like addresses. What I do is addresses for homes and businesses, you know, make it more bold and clear. See, if I'm not working on the mine property, but I am for Freeport Housing, say in Morenci, would I have to be MSHA certified? It'd be OSHA, wouldn't it be?
I'm not sure. I think that would be something Morenci could guide you through. I mean, if you're not doing work within an active mining operation, it's not going to be MSHA, but whether or not there's an OSHA obligation would be Morenci Housing could answer. Yeah.
This is Dale Patterson. If it's around the town site, it would be OSHA.
There you go.
Okay, that's what I figured.
And Dale's our GSC manager in Morenci, so you got the right answer where I got it.
Nice.
And MSHA is required to do work on the mine site, right? But not to visit the mine site. There's a different process just to visit.
Yeah, for just visitors, generally, if it's within a certain window of days, we can kind of do a hazard recognition training and then you're accompanied with a staff member during your visit. So yeah, a little bit of a different process, but yeah, and correct me if I go astray here, guys.
Yeah, that's correct, Sean.
Okay, yeah.
Have there been any particularly troublesome things you're trying to get accomplished or products you're trying to acquire at Safford specifically? Is there anything that's been on the list for like 2 years that
There's a gap.
a small business might just be created because you need it type thing?
Yeah, I'll turn it over to the Safford team on that one. Hmm.
I mean, stuff does come up from time to time. I mean, we definitely have a large list of suppliers that we go through, but I mean, if I don't have anything that I'm going to point out on the call specifically, right?
Yeah,
But if a supplier does, supply something, they have something unique or something that the mine might be interested in, you can always reach out.
Right now, it's skilled laborers. Like the rest of the world, we need people.
the contract employees.
Yeah. You got an insight on that.
Sean, there's a question in the chat. It's from outside of this world, so it's from Galaxy S8. But it says, what kind of time frame is it from contacting the rep to doing business?
Good question. Mike, did you catch that one?
Oh, can you repeat that?
Just his question was, what sort of a time frame does it look like between making contact with the GSC rep to actually being in the pipeline and doing business?
It's pretty quick, actually. It depends on what the needs are, right? If a supplier does have something that we are interested in or that they can supply, we can move it through pretty quickly. When we get the information from the supplier, we actually send that information to one of our corporate teams, and then they issue the link so that supplier can register through the Ariba network and get set up that way. So I don't know, anywhere from probably 7 to 14 days, we could have it completed. And a lot of that depends on how quickly the supplier is getting the information back to us.
Okay, yeah, I think there's a few more in the room, and I think I saw one more in the chat, so.
So I've tried for about 5 years to get in with FMI, gone back and forth, and I haven't had a lot of luck. We're an industrial parts supplier. We've been in business for like 53 years. So I'm just curious, like, how does the bids and contracts work? Like, what does it take to get on the list to be chosen for products?
Any insight on that? Did you go through the question okay?
I mean, I'm not sure on this specific example. But like I said, if there's a need for it, and someone can be competitive in the market, usually we're interested in seeing what that supplier has to offer.
And I think sometimes, and I might turn this over to them to round it out if it makes sense, but sometimes there may be a specific kind of higher level business partner that supplies that across multiple sites. So it may be a commodity or something else that's managed at an enterprise level. And so, a partner like Empire Cat that provides
Motion.
Yeah, across our operations in North America for sure, and maybe even beyond. But so I know sometimes there are those strategic partnerships that we're going to have, an alignment with someone there, but I'm not sure. It just like I said, it just depends on the product. And
So if I had a competing product with Empire Cat, let's say, how would I stay at least on the radar so that if Cat has a back order on it or you can't get it from them, they would know that I'm a viable alternative to Caterpillar?
any thoughts on that?
Something you probably have to, like I said, contact the GSC manager that's listed on the GSC contacts, provide that information to them. And as long as we have that information and that information gets passed down, at least we're aware of that.
But are the GSC managers, are they on site and able to take meetings there, or are they all potentially throughout the state?
Our GSC managers are on site.
Yeah, we're all on site. So, and the website you saw that we went through would show you who the contact is at each site for a site manager.
And then like the list of commodity managers they showed, those would be many of them in Phoenix, but some of them probably would know it also.
But the recommendation was to start with the site manager, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Ariba, how you spell that?
ARIBA.
Yeah.
Is there another question in here? Yeah, sorry.
And I don't know, mine might not be a good question for here, but so my husband actually, he currently works for Freeport. And so my question is, I do know that like we can't, like if my business was to do business with Freeport, if we were a, service or something, that he can't work there. Right?
I think it'd be more like he would need to declare that and just make sure it's known and understood so that, there's a human resources understanding and a GSC understanding to avoid any potential conflict of interest. Like he wouldn't be able to procure from your business, but if you still have the best bid or the best product or whatever, there's probably a stronger likelihood. I don't know
But if I did want him with me, because he's my helper.
if. Sure. Yeah.
My question is it's more of like a timeline, like, could we put in a bid? And then he, like, if we say that we quit the bid, like, could that be an agreement, like, he quits or something to?
Ooh. That might be an HR question. I don't know.
Okay, all right, I was just curious.
Yeah, I think Sean was on point right there. I mean, declaring that information up front and letting us know what the situation is, right? And then that would go under, we would have to review it and our HR office would get involved and we would just look at the situation and see what we could do to prevent any conflict.
How remote of a relationship with somebody do you need to declare it?
I think it spells it out in our principles of business conduct and some of our other guiding principles or guiding, business objectives and directives that employees engage with. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that the intent is if there's any question that it could be misconstrued or taken the wrong way or
Just
starting to look back,
declare.
declare it. Yeah, it's better to share it, even if it feels remote. And that way you run less risk of a misunderstanding or anything unfortunate happening. Because at the end of the day, I think we all have a pretty clear understanding, like, especially when it comes to mining, you're bound to where the product is actually in the ground. They often happen to be smaller communities. We know there's going to be a lot of interconnection and just that's kind of what makes small communities a beautiful place, right? And so at the end of the day, us understanding it and being able to effectively try to manage around it is the best way to go, just to keep everything above board. I think ultimately we're just trying to make sure there's no conflict, that there's not, conflict of interest, that there's nothing that looks like any kind of corruption in any way. We just want to do business honestly and fairly. So
Sorry, one more question.
yeah.
So he just can't like benefit, like, what are the benefits that he can't, like, monetarily? Is that
Well, I
kind
mean,
of thing?
he's going to benefit if you make money from doing business with us, but if he were the beneficiary of making that decision, I guess I would come back to that again. I mean, if he works in hydromet and you're selling stakes to mining, there's no connection there, right? But if he's a supervisor in one space and he makes the decision to give you the bid and buy the product from you, then he's potentially benefiting. And so I think that's, again, where it kind of comes back to just being best to declare it and work through it and get the guidance. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably not going to be a thing, but better to know.
Yeah, let me add some color to that.
Please do.
So it wouldn't stop you from doing business with Freeport. Your husband would have to declare it, as mentioned. Typically, how the process works is they get a hold of the site manager. You would, or he would, saying, "Hey, my wife has this business." He declares it to me and to his leadership in the organization that he works for. We vet that out. One thing, whoever is working for Freeport would not be allowed to have any involvement in the decision making. So we mentioned that earlier too, that whoever that individual would not be allowed to have any decision making around the award of any business of the business. So basically, the individual has to separate themselves from the situation. Typically, though, what I've seen, and I've seen both instances where they did have the ability to make the decision, but they remove themselves from that process. So it can still happen, but we just got to know that, for instance, your husband would remove himself from that decision-making process. So he if he's a supervisor and he has influence around the award, he would declare and remove himself. And he would, basically, the way that works is it would go up a level to his leadership to be part of that discussion. So he would be removed from that. We'd have to know that relationship ahead of time.
Okay,
So declaring first is the first step to his leadership and to the site GSC manager.
perfect.
Good. Yeah.
So is the homes that are in Morenci, right? I know that they're Freeport owned.
Correct.
So mine is doing that, like I said, addresses on the homes, you know, making them more visible. Is it kind of like a HOA, is it like a homeowners association that has to be up to code? Do they be uniformal, or can they have the home, the residents in that home, do they do what, you know, appeases them? You know what I mean? Is that to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll defer to
So
Dale.
is it just like the HOA where you have to be code, where it's all uniformal house after house? Or would I have to be, or can they do, can they? How would you say, can they put a custom, you know, a BYU symbol or something next to their address, you know?
You know, that's something we're gonna have to get back to you on, because I don't know the answer.
I mean, there's a housing.
Yeah, there's a specific housing group
Yeah.
that we have to ask that
And
question.
they, yeah, I could keep contact them and see if they do have to be uniformal or something like that, you know?
Plus, I think if you get into Ariba and get set up first, then, you know, if that's an opportunity or a need, or if they see opportunity there,
Can
then.
you show me how to do the real thing?
Yeah, I can put you there for you. Yeah. Any other questions online? Yeah, I think we did get a direct message that came into the room. Asking if Freeport has targets for doing business with minority owned entities. I guess my reaction would be any targets we have are likely to be, you know, publicly stated on the FCX website, but also defer to GSC if there's any more color or clarification to that.
No, we don't have a specific target, but we do track, and we got the ability to track, you know, how many minority businesses we are doing business with currently, and we try to grow that from year to year. So, you know, we're actively always looking to do business with minority owned businesses. We don't have a specific target.
Still. Any more questions online from our attendees?
Does Freeport have a vendor list of vendors they're currently working with?
Good question.
I didn't hear that last part.
He asked if we have a vendor list of the vendors we're currently working with,
Yes. Yeah, we do.
but probably an internal document, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Mhm.
Any other final questions? All right, well, Sean, Freeport and team, thank you all for joining. On behalf of Freeport, the Graham County Chamber of Commerce and Eastern Arizona College Small Business Development Center, thank you all for joining. Just so you know, for future, we plan to host How to Do Business With series every other month. Brief teasers, we plan to have Eastern Arizona College on in January. If there's anything we can do at the SBDC to help you grow, sustain, or launch your small business, please do not hesitate to reach out. We love working with our community partners as well as our state partners, such as the Arizona Commerce Authority. And with that said, seeing no other questions, thank you all. Have a safe day. Have a happy holiday season. Thank you.